But this is why they brought Sergio Perez in. And as much as he has been struggling at times this year, what he was able to do in his battle with Lewis Hamilton is going to be a big factor in this championship. And we're going to bring the Mercedes side of the conversation in with the number 2 driver. But for now, Tyler, what did you think of that battle between Perez and Hamilton? I think it was just great driving between the two, great wheel-to-wheel racing. But that's great to see from that second Red Bull seat and that second Red Bull car, just fighting the number 1 driver at Mercedes there, because that was critical in the race.
Oh, it really was. It was something very impressive from Sergio Perez. And that's, like you said, why they brought him in, was to be that second car to challenge the Mercedes and to really make that fight a lot tougher for Mercedes to sandwich Max Verstappen and then go on alternate strategy and be able to either one of them work out and be able to pass Verstappen for the most part. But Perez did a phenomenal job. And, he, like you said, he had struggled a little bit, but really came into his form. And I think a lot of that has to do with the classic Sergio Perez, who's the best at saving the tires on the grid. It's Sergio Perez. And I think that really played a factor with how well he could work his tires in the tricky conditions, and it just to be able to kind of extend and to make sure that, he has the right amount of grip at all times. He's a wily old vet, Sergio Perez now, and can really work his magic. So I think it was a perfect storm kind of also for Sergio. He's done well in Turkey before, obviously the podium last year, second place, and now podium this year, and is also good in wet conditions and is also good at saving his tires. So a great race for Sergio, and what Red Bull needed out of him, because it really slowed Lewis up and, of course, forced him to make that make a pit stop, I should say, because he did want to go the full way just on those first intermediate tires, which it could be plausible as Charles Leclerc tried it. And but obviously a new set of injuries right at the end had more pace.
Yeah, this is exactly what they need for him going down into the final 6 races, but also on Mercedes side with Valtteri Bottas as well. These number 2 drivers are really going to play a big part in the final 6 races here, because we could have these scenarios where, we hope we don't have to take any engine penalties between the two from now until the end. But just like we saw in this race, right? It was big for Valtteri Bottas to keep Max Verstappen behind him, same way as it was with Perez to keep Lewis Hamilton behind him. So you don't want to see Hamilton or Verstappen coming behind these number 2 drivers and just blowing past them on the DRS straight. So I think Perez fought Hamilton very, very well. I'm surprised maybe the stewards, I'm glad that they didn't have a closer look at the incident, because obviously Perez was pushed into the pit entry pretty much and then cut back. But it was just good, hard racing, I think, squabbling over the same track position. So it's critical. Now more than ever is when Perez has to deliver these performances. And I hope that this was kind of a weekend to give him more confidence, and we see him on the podium at least a couple more times in these final 6 races, because even the Constructors' Championship is still well within the range for Red Bull too.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, let me pull up what the standings are here. But I mean, they are trailing by, oh God, they're going to make me do this math.
The 0.5s, right?
Yeah, well, they're both have a 0.5 there, but there's a lot of numbers involved. 1 second.
It's okay.
They're trailing by 36 points.
36, okay. Yeah,
36. It isn't a lot. I mean, if you have 2 DNFs from a Mercedes, just like that, the gap is very close. So they're not very far behind, like you mentioned, and it's still very plausible for them to come out with the constructors title. Like you said, Mexico is going to be a big track for them to be able to try and get a lot of points with that high altitude. Brazil is a very good track for Red Bulls as well. We've seen how well they've done there. So if you go by what's left, it's pretty even in terms of Mercedes versus Red Bull tracks. You can give USA a toss-up. I think that can go either way. And also, we don't know what's going on with Qatar and Saudi Arabia. And then Abu Dhabi is more of a Mercedes track. But again, change the layout. So who knows what's going to happen there as well. So like you said, I think it's very close, up for the grabs. And it's nice to see that a constructors battle is also kind of shaping out with a driver's title, because that gives a lot of different scenarios. And not only are we going to see the Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen fight, but we're going to see Perez and Bottas play a big factor into this as well, because of course the teams are going to want to win that constructors title, not just solely focus on the driver's title, which of course will be a priority. But it's always a team sport. And I think, it'd be interesting to see who favors the driver's title over the team constructors title as well.